And welcome back to Grim Dawn. Okay, so a while ago Argyle did get the hearts for the feast for Barrowholm, so let's finally deliver them. They must be very hungry, having to wait around for those hearts. Well, that's what you get when you don't pay your delivery boys enough. Anyway, here we are. Here is Skorf Egdenor.
Rotting hearts follows you, outsider. Come, bring them to me.
Okay, well, here you go.
Yes, these should satisfy Ravager's hunger for a time once he is reborn. Now be gone, outsider, before I give in to my urges to gut you with my knife.
Okay, well, I did get a blueprint out of that. Sadly, I already know it, apparently. Also a tonic of reshaping. Okay, wait, what?
It is Ravager. I do not know what I had done to scorn the Great One, but here, on the hour of his imminent return, the Spirit demanded that the honor of selecting a chosen to serve as his flesh and blood go to you. To you, an outsider. The three have already come forward. The blood of one of them shall serve as the catalyst, and the flesh will feed the Wendigo. It falls to you. Will it be Orin who performs the final rite? Or her brother, Jordith? Or perhaps Tyval? Speak to the chosen and decide.
Okay, well, we have more things to do here. Sure, I will carry out this honor. What a great honor. What an honor. Okay, let's see. So, speak with Jordith.
Blood shall spill, and the Great One shall feast. We're all but servants before him.
Okay, well, that's the extent of the voice acting. Shall we join in blood at this glorious event? Will we partake of flesh and become closer to our god? I know that Ravager has selected you to decide between his favorite children, but I cannot help but wonder why. You are not one of our people and have not partaken of the flesh. So who will it be? Well, why should I choose you? While Tyvold may be our protector and my sister the Sage, I am the faithful successor to Skorf himself. My devotion to the great Wendigo goes beyond the others. I sacrificed upon the altar. I gave my own blood to bring Ravager closer to us all. This next sacrifice is only the next logical step in my spiritual journey. I see. Okay. Well, they're all very eager, it seems. Well, let's speak with Orin.
Today is a glorious day for us all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it is. The energy in the air, the anticipation. I can hardly stand still. Tell me, whom will you choose as Ravager's offering? I must know. Well, why should I choose you? While Skorf may be our leader, it was I who orchestrated our schemes to draw travelers here. It was I who studied the tomes and learned the rituals. What we have here this day is everyone's achievement, but more so my own. It is now my duty to serve Ravager in this ultimate task. Okay, well, they're all so eager to die. I wonder, or I don't remember, if I can sacrifice all of them. Anyway, one guy to go.
All of our sacrifices have come to this moment. Blood shall spill and we shall feast upon flesh.
And so we arrive at this critical junction. I have been preparing for this moment and am ready to offer myself in the service of Ravager. Skorf informs me that it is Ravager's will that you decide who is the most worthy. So tell me, whom do you choose? Why should I choose you? I am by far the strongest within Barrowholm. None can hope to match my bloodlust or skill with a battle axe. I personally hunted down countless fiends within Ogdenbog and fear nothing that Ravager would require of me. I will sacrifice everything for Ravager and spill an ocean of blood in his honor. Okay, so let's see.
Is a glorious day for us all.
Can I speak with you, Skorf? Yes, I can. So, if I get the option, I'm going to sacrifice every single one of them. I mean, I'm doing them all a favor, after all.
A massive burden and honor has been placed upon you, outsider. Think about this carefully.
Okay, I think I've decided.
Who shall serve as the Ravager's...
Oh damn, I can't sacrifice all of them. Well, that's a shame. That is a shame. I guess the rest of you just have to wait to die of something else. Well, let's see. Orin was very pleasant, well, in comparison to the other two, and the most polite and the most eager, I think, though they are all eager, of course. So let's choose Orin.
Yes, young Orin is ambitious, and her mind has already served Ravager well. May it continue to serve him in her death. I will proceed with the ceremony then.
Well, apparently I can still change my mind, not that it matters. But yeah, let's go with this. Yes, bring forth the Ravager. Okay, well, hopefully that was all you wished for. So here is the Ravager, and we get mythical Golemborn Greaves out of that. Okay, well, sure, let's speak with the Ravager.
What is this little thing that stands before me?
Have you come to offer yourself to a god, shaman? Or perhaps you've already tasted of my gift and have come to thank me? May I ask some questions? I will indulge your curiosities. Well, what are you? I am the hunger, the giver, and the taker. But none who receive my gift hunger ever again. You stand before a primal force of nature, made manifest. I don't remember what happens if I ask for a gift. Like, does he actually attack me or something? I guess I'll ask. I would assume that I can just run away. You wish to be remade in my image, to offer your soul to the Wendigo? An amusing request, but one I shall not grant you. You entertain me, human, but you reek of ethereal corruption. It is only by the mercy of all you have done for my servants that I not tear you apart where you stand. I am corrupted by the ethereals? The primordial servant may have left your body, but it has also left its mark. You are tainted, broken, not even worthy of standing before. Didn't you specifically request me or something? I don't know. When this world is scoured of the dead gods and their pathetic servants, the likes of you shall be next. Yeah, so yes. This is another super boss we can fight, that I know. I don't think I have ever fought him. Not that I remember, maybe I have. I have fought Mogudrogan and beaten him, but not sure about the Ravager. Anyway, I won't be attacking him if I can here. Let's just ask another question. Let's see. What is your will? I shall begin by hunting down the one who scorned me. The beast god will suffer for his transgressions. Then we shall scour this world clean of dead gods and their pathetic servants. Well, what has Mogudrogan done? At the peak of his power, the beast god strove to rule over nature as he saw fit. Others, like myself, rose to oppose him. Many fell. My body was destroyed and my disembodied form forced to roam the vale for millennia. But I have returned and my vengeance will be absolute. Okay, sure. Sounds reasonable. Did you see the grim dawn coming? If I told you that I sensed the great unrest stirring just beyond the veil for some time, will that make you feel better about all that has transpired? Humans amuse me, and some are even useful, but I see no purpose in altering your fate, except perhaps to deny my enemies your lives as a resource. But that can just as easily be achieved with your deaths. Okay. Very reasonable, again. Okay, so one last thing. Why the hatred of Chthonians? Yeah, why would you hate the Chthonians? They're so lovely folk. They seek to claim blood that is rightfully mine. I shall feast upon the marrow of their bones, and the blood they had gathered will briefly sate my endless hunger. I see. Okay, so I'm pretty glad there's no more dialogue there, because I'm starting to lose my voice doing that. Okay, I guess I'll ask Scorf, is there...
Ravager with your actions, outsider. When this world is scoured of unbelievers and fiends, perhaps you too shall be among the chosen few who will rise up from the ashes.
Yes, well, we can only hope. We can only hope. I guess I'll ask, is that Laria's body?
Yes. We would not want to waste a perfectly good corpse now, would we? You must have chased her far. Ravager will enjoy her heart.
Yes, let nothing go to waste. That is a very, very sound wisdom, sound philosophy. Great! Yeah, enjoy. Let's speak with these two fools still. I don't remember what their voices sounded like. It pleases me that Ravager has returned, but I cannot help feel as if my own destiny was not realized. I wish to spill blood in his honor and feast upon the flesh of our fallen foes. Well, I'm sorry. But what will you do now? Honestly, I do not know. I've been preparing for this moment for months, and now that it's here, I feel so empty. Not even the taste of flesh quells my unrest. Aww. He's depressed. Oh well. How about you, Judith? Glorious Ravager has been brought into this world just as Scorf promised. I am ashamed that it was not my duty to serve in this task, but I shall strive to do better. I will become his servant in all things. Okay. I don't remember what the hell this is referring to, but I guess I'll ask. So about those travelers. Yes. Oh yeah, this is what we did way back. We brought some so-called travelers to them, rescued them, if you will, for a while, before they ate them. Yes, they were quite filling, but nothing good lasts forever. Soon enough, we'll have to find more. Okay, yeah, well, that's Barrowholm for you. Anyway, now let's do something else. So Argyle is level 99, still have a ways to go, and one thing I haven't done is the Shattered Realm, which I have remarked earlier that it's not my favorite part of the game, but it is end-game content, and it's one place where you can actually get a few skill points. I think 3 in total, if I remember. Once you reach Shattered Realm 25, I think.
The oracles of Drig spoke of your arrival. Their mad choir whispers of you marching alongside our forces into the tomb of the Eldritch Sun and emerging triumphant. But even their eyes cannot peer into what I offer. The Shattered Realm is unlike anything mankind has ever witnessed, teeming with wealth and power beyond imagining. But also dangers are not unlike those that we face even now on Cairn. I have the means to open the way, if you wish to join me in pursuing its mysteries. But be warned, the Shattered Realm spans eternity. One could spend a lifetime exploring even a small fragment of its vast reality. You must be careful not to lose your mind, or worse, become lost forever. Will you dare enter? Will you witness sights beyond imagining?
Yes, I dare. Okay, open the portal. So I kind of like Shattered Realm, or I like the concept of it in small chunks. But if you do this for a long time, then it definitely gets old very quickly. So, of course, the idea here is to kill enemies and then progress to the next level, which will be more difficult. And there are bosses, I believe, every 4 shards or every 3 shards, whatever. And yeah, since I need to reach... I might be using the terminology wrong there. Maybe it's chunks that I was speaking about. Anyway, I need to reach shard 25, I believe. So shards are made up of chunks. But yeah, we shall get confirmation pretty soon. This is the meter that will fill up. I mean, I don't know if anyone's watching this who doesn't already know this, but... Anyway. That's how it works. And at the end, you will get a reward. So it's a little bit similar to the Crucible, which is the DLC for Grim Dawn, where you can fight in an arena. It's a little bit like that. And this, I believe, is the preferred, or maybe even the only, well, the latest, or the most difficult endgame content you can do. And the power of your build is measured in how far you can take that build in the Shattered Realm. That's how they measure it usually, I believe. But yeah, like I've been saying, Shattered Realm is not my favorite part of the game by any means. I've never bothered to dwell very deep here. And the goal here is to reach Shard 25. Okay, so portal, so we've killed enough here. There is some variety in the maps here. Yeah, Shard 25, I believe, is the goal here. That is when the skill points stop coming. And I believe that should also be enough for the final level up to level 100, but we shall see. Anyway, so it's pretty easy so far, early on, but it's still going to take a while to actually get there. I don't remember the mechanic in Diablo 3, but I believe that had something a bit similar as well, where a portal will open to an area outside of the world map where you kill enemies and... But I don't remember the specifics. I mean, that seems to be a pretty common game mode, if you will, in ARPGs these days. Like I said, it's pretty damn easy so far, but once you get high enough or low enough or whatever, it will get significantly more difficult. I don't remember, but I think like the good builds, when last I checked, were doing like Shattered Realm 80 plus or something like that. Something in that ballpark. And I really don't remember, but I would imagine that I never went above like 50 or something like that. And I'm not planning on doing so with Argyle. So if I reach level 100 in this episode, then that will be the end of the series, at least for a while. I might return to Grim Dawn at some point, but I've had my fill for a while, once I reach that level 100. Would be a real shame to die on level 99. Doing this of all things. Anyway, so yes, if I remember, if memory serves, after this chunk we will have a boss fight. Here's the portal. Yes. The bosses are random, of course. Here is a Belgor, the Swamp King. Okay, that's actually a lot of damage. I have a debuff. It's from... Is it this? No. Yeah, it's from the boss itself. Whatever. That would have been really anticlimactic to die there. To the very first boss of this place. Anyway, so we can skip with Mazan. And I think, yes, we need to.
Well done. This portion of the Shattered Realm is clear of threats, and its power ours for the taking. I can open the way further, or if you wish, offer you compensation for your efforts. That will mark the end of your journey, however, as the connection to this shard shall be broken. What will it be?
Well, I must delve deeper. The good thing about the Shattered Realm is that you don't need to start from the beginning. Also, there are landmines on this map, and it's very dark as well. How rude. So, don't remember the specifics again, but I think you can either craft or buy one or the other. Keystones or something similar that will open the way up to a certain point in the Shattered Realm. So yeah, I don't imagine there are many people who would want to do this all the way from Shard 1 over and over and over. So if this game were released in like the 90s, then things would be different. We just accepted a lot of things that wouldn't fly today. I mean, we didn't really have much of a choice. Okay. Chunk 1 of Shard 2 down. So while this is the end game content of the game, there are other things you can do, of course, but I think maybe the most common thing that people do, which I've done, is just make a new character once you get done with one, or bored with one. And I have made quite a few of Grim Dawn characters over the years. None of them have been hardcore. Well, they have been hardcore, a few of them, but never reached very far, so 99% of them were softcore characters. And obviously it makes a lot of sense to make new characters as you find loot that your character can't really use efficiently. But you'd like to see that loot in action. And there are a lot of class combinations and a lot of different things you can loot. Some of which change your build drastically. And like I've said in the past, games like this I usually enjoy while watching and or listening to something else on my second monitor. You can play this game kind of mindlessly, of course, well, which is exemplified in Argyle. I just run around and let the minions do everything. This is one of the laziest builds I've ever made. Don't even need to use these abilities if I don't feel like it. I mean, obviously I should use them, because that speeds things up, and it's not very complicated. Just press 5, and there you have it, press 4. And I guess I could even get rid of the Wendigo totem, as I never did end up putting points in it. I do believe, I mean, I've said this at least once before, but I do believe that is a build you can make. Well, obviously it's a build you can make, but if I remember correctly, it's a pretty efficient build to build around the Wendigo totem with skeletons. That would mean giving up something else in return, of course. Didn't do it for Argyle. I never did respec at all, actually. I did respec like a few points in the devotion section, but not for the actual skills. So I'm just gonna throw that away, since I already know it. Okay, next boss. Okay. Blue Grug. Okay. The Living Plague and Elena, the first Slith, and some helpers. Come on, guys. It's only shard 2. Okay, not sure if it's actually all that feasible to reach shard 25 with this build currently, if it's taking this long. Well, we shall see. The plans might change. But okay, there's the first skill point apparently. Alright, let's put it in the Primal Spirit and delve deeper. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, okay. Let's do this for as long as it's reasonable. But if things become an absolute slog, then I will just leave the Shattered Realm and get my level 100 with something else. Yeah, maybe I'll aim for like shard 15 instead of 25 here. We shall see. Also, if I go straight for shard 25, then this will probably take quite a while. And I don't really care all of that much about missing out on 1 or maybe even 2 skill points here. If Argyle's story continues at some point, I can just do it then, if I feel like it. Oh. Apparently I summoned the Primal Spirit in vain there. Now it's still with me, so not altogether wasted. A little bit wasted, but not altogether.
That skill's not ready.
I mean, it's possible that I just got, like, a semi-nasty boss combination there, but if the Shard 2 bosses take that long, then that doesn't bode well. Now we shall see how this Shard goes. Also, yes, there are shrines here. You can get some buffs from them. I don't remember what they do, specifically. Granting you increased movement speed and causing your attacks. Well, I don't care about attacks, so I'm not going to get that one. I mean, it's not a heavy price to pay or anything, but still. Also, maybe it applies to the pets, but... maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I guess I should check the next one, just to see if it applies to the pets. There are at least 4 different shrines here, I believe. Sure, let's go that way. Let's do all the things that you want to do. Alright, a few enemies to kill and then it's boss time again. There we are. Who do we have now? Ragnar and Elena again. So of course it is random, but maybe they should have added like something to stop the same boss from spawning twice in a row. It's a bit old maybe, I don't know. I mean it's not a big deal. Okay, and this went so much better than the last one, okay. Well done, yes, yes indeed. I'm so proud of myself and the minions. The nice thing about making multiple characters in this game is that there are ways to speed up the leveling process, one of which is the bonus experience point potion, which I believe lasts for 60 minutes, which you can buy from the resistance at Malmöth, I think. Malmöth is the place. Yeah, Malmöth. But of course you do need to grind the revered reputation with them to be able to buy it. How am I doing with them, by the way? Okay, honored, so pretty close, pretty close. But I would need to do some grinding to reach that. Anyway, it's not out of the question that I will at some point make a new hardcore character, something a bit more interesting, something a bit more frail, or I don't know, what's a good adjective to use? Something not quite as easy as Argyle has been. But like I said, I've had my fill of Grim Dawn for a while. Anyway, here's a Shrine of Amatuk. Sap the heat, granting you increased movement speed, causing attacks against you sometimes trigger a chilling blast. Okay, well let's take that one. Does it apply to the pets? Not sure. I think they have like... Yeah, they seem to have some form of effect on them, so I guess... Yeah, it is applying to them. Okay. Well, that does kind of make sense, as obviously a summoner's power comes from the pets. Well, that's going to make this easier. Maybe with the help of those we can actually reach 25. Shard 25, that is. Yeah. I don't think there's a limitation with them, but I'm not sure. So when I find the next one, I guess I'll just take it and see. Also, obviously they do have... They only last for a certain amount of time. Did it already stop? Oh, it seems to have already stopped. Okay, maybe that wasn't time-based. Well, that's a shame. That's kind of sucky, actually. Oh well. I thought they lasted like 5 or 10 minutes or something, but apparently that one at least doesn't. Well, son, I am disappointed. That's all I have to say. I mean, it was pretty powerful, but still. Also, there is a slim chance that I'm just being dense. I'm not realizing that it's still in effect, but it doesn't seem to be. What is this though? Weird effect, I don't know, seems to be gone. Well, anyway. Salazine and Necrathan. Okay, let's delve deeper. Yes, yes. By no means am I an expert in Grim Dawn. Which explains how clueless I am sometimes. Despite reaching level 100 with, I don't know, at least like 10 characters over the years. I mean, it is a pretty complex game, despite the simplicity of the gameplay here. When you look at screens like this. Also, that brings up another point, which I don't know. But anyway, so obviously when a game has complex mechanics in the ways you can build your character, you're never going to, well, not never, but it's pretty unlikely that you'll be able to make something as efficient as someone else on the internet. So if you really care about how effective your character is, well, I don't know. You might want to try it out on your own for a time, but after that you might want to actually ask for some advice or look up builds of other people that have been battle proven. It does kind of take away a lot of the fun if you do that, in my opinion at least, though. But there's no denying that, especially if you're a bit dense like I am sometimes, then it's pretty likely that some nerd on the internet has done the same thing that you're trying to do far better. But if you don't really care about being efficient with your action role-playing game character, then it's of course, it doesn't matter at all. The important thing is to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, you're spending your free time on something like this. Also, when I speak, I don't notice things, so yeah, let's head into the rift. Anyway, part of the fun of games comes from the challenge for me. If a game is too easy, then I tend to get bored. And to be honest, a few times at least I've been a bit bored with this run, but hey, I made my bed, I made Argyle the way he is. I thought this would have been more difficult, but it wasn't. Of course, now it would be a real nice, ironic time to die. So let's not jinx it. But yeah, that's one thing that I really enjoy about Battle Brothers. Is the challenge of the game and the progression. But once you've actually reached the end game, oftentimes you end up powerful enough that the challenge starts to disappear. Of course, there are multiple things you can do to increase challenge in a game like Battle Brothers, one of which is the mods. But yeah, they might not be as balanced as one would hope. Anyway, here's the next boss. So Legends for Battle Brothers, for example, which I do love the mod. don't get me wrong, but I think well, I've said this multiple times, but I believe that the endgame balancing should be fine-tuned a little bit. SSU does it a bit better than the base Legends does, but it does get quite easy after a while. And by after a while, I mean like day 200 plus, or at the very latest day 300 plus in that game, but
Well,
anyway, it's a fun journey to get there, but once every fight starts to be a pushover, it really starts to lose its appeal. Which is why I have in the past wished that the game, speaking about Battle Brothers here, not of Grim Dawn, had like an auto battle feature where you could just see the results and click on yes or no depending on how it went, because in the late game 99% of the fights basically become too easy and they just take up your valuable time. Which means you, well, at least I, end up skipping some of the fights, which doesn't really make sense. Other than that you would be losing your in real life time doing those battles. But that is a sign once you reach that point. I mean, pretty obviously, that maybe it's time to start a new company instead. Anyway, not sure why I'm speaking about all of that while I'm playing Grim Dawn. Oh yes, it started from challenge in games. That's what started it. Obviously I don't like every single game genre. Even if they are very challenging, something like FPS games I'm just pretty bad at. Well, maybe when I was younger I wasn't that bad. But these days I really have no interest. And obviously the best challenge comes from playing against humans, but I usually can't tolerate other people necessarily. Not in certain contexts at least. Like multiplayer gaming. I've had my fill of that, did it for a little bit when I was a bit younger. But yeah, some people are just, well, you can just ignore them, I guess, if they annoy you. But yeah, that's why I dislike, well, that's one of the reasons I dislike Diablo 4 a little bit, is that it kind of forces the multiplayer aspect to you. Grim Dawn doesn't. Path of Exile kind of a little bit does as well, but I don't believe it does it as egregiously as Diablo 4 does. I mean, it's really not a big deal, I don't think. I'm just an old man yelling at clouds. But I would like it, I would prefer it if there were just a single player mode in Diablo 4. Not that it would be a great game even with that, at least not yet. I mean, it's okay, but I believe it could have been far better. But yeah, I really dislike requiring you to be online, and dislike it even further if you're actually forced, kind of, to interact with other people when you don't want to. Not that Diablo 4 really forces you, but it's a bit of an MMO, kind of. You have to at least see them running around in the wild. But once again, I am an old man. Angry old man, just rambling. I don't know, this early, well, it's still early in the Shattered Realm, kind of puts my brain a little bit on autopilot. So I can ramble on about nonsense that the viewer might or might not find at all interesting, or whatever term you would use. Engaging, I guess. Anywho, just my old man opinions. Here is Gale Sliced Ruthless, and he's gone. Rest in pieces. And here is Onarix, the Razor Hide, and the Ancient Shambler. Okay, and another skill point. Well, that was soon. Okay, so that's shard 5 completed. Okay, well, that's 2 out of this place already. If I'm not incorrect, then I do still believe that the total is 3, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, let's just put more into the primal spirit, whatever, and delve deeper.
Well done.
Yes, always well done. Except when you die. Also, yes, environmental hazards. Let's not stand in the goo. The floor is lava. Anywho, back in the day when I started gaming with like a Nintendo Entertainment System and Amiga 500 and like a very, very crappy PC. I guess we kind of predicted that the games we play, given enough time, would become far grander than they were back then. Especially those 8-bit games. Not that they're bad games or anything. And Diablo 2 came out in what? Was it like 99, 2000? Something like that. So it's been 25 years or so. And this game is very similar to Diablo 2. It's just a more complex, more modern version. I mean, this game is semi-old at this point as well. But really, the ARPG genre hasn't really like evolved all that much, to be honest, I don't think. I mean, it's definitely evolved, or changed at least. I mean, yeah, that's undeniable, but it's still the same formula as in Diablo 2. Kind of. Anyway, here is a Shrine of Azrakar. Granting you increased movement speed, causing attacks to launch spectral blades. I don't care. Whatever, it's fine. Since they last for such a short duration. Okay, so next chunk. So we are on Shard 7. Yeah, I guess it was a bit of an anomaly how difficult the Shard 2 bosses were. That's my guesstimation at this point. Anywho, yeah, it really hasn't, the genre hasn't changed in my opinion all that much. But then again, if you'd ask me how I would change it, then I don't really have a good answer at this point. Like, what should you do differently than Diablo 2 did? Or differently than Grim Dawn did? And I don't mean just doing it better, but something actually different. I'm sure there are ways to do it a lot differently, but really this is very, very similar to a game that came out 25 years ago. And I guess it makes a lot of sense since it was so influential. And thus so imitated. I mean, this game probably wouldn't exist without Diablo 2. Still a very good game to play. And like I've said, a few times. There is a Diablo mod for Grim Dawn, which I do kind of recommend. I don't think it's finished yet, which might be a good thing, as it can only get better. Well, hopefully only get better. But it's called Reign of Terror. So if you want Diablo content in Grim Dawn, then look Reign of Terror up.
That skill's not ready.
Does add a whole lot of gameplay and classes and items. A whole new map. Oh, whoops. Going too far there. Anyway, not a big deal. Okay, so shard 7 still. Oh, and it has been quite a while actually. Well, it's no big deal. I guess this episode can be longer than usual. Especially since it might be the last one. At least for a while. Okay, boss time. Ancient Shambler again. I think I'll aim for shard 15, because this is taking a while. Here is the Herald of Destruction. Might be doing up to shard 25 at some point maybe, but there are no promises. Or I won't make promises about that. Okay, there we go.
Well done.
Always the same thing to say. Okay. Shard 8. Yeah, let's do up to shard 15. Unless Argyle dies before that, but that's a pretty slim chance. Since I do actually have kind of a life and I have places to be and people to kill. Forget about that last part. Anywho, let's keep on killing in the game. Like I said, this place does get a bit boring after a while. Unless, of course, you can entertain yourself somehow while doing it. I do like listening to podcasts while gaming. Doesn't fit every single game, but I usually like games where that is an option. Battle Brothers being one of them. Turn-based games in general, I really like turn-based games. I mean, not all of them, obviously, but I do prefer that. Back in the day, I used to love the Baldur's Gate series. Obviously, that is not really turn-based. But once I've gotten older, I do believe, like some people, that the the first two should have been turn-based instead of real-time with pause. There is kind of a turn-based system behind those games. Kind of. And you can set up the auto-pause very liberally to pause whenever something happens. So it's not really that real-time there. But I still believe that, well, at least I would prefer it if they were turn-based. Kind of like Baldur's Gate 3, which I haven't played yet, but I will at some point. Maybe even on the channel. We shall see. I have so many games I haven't played. I think that applies for most PC gamers these days. Like the Steam library is filled with stuff I haven't ever even installed. I haven't paid for most of the games actually. I've gotten them for free or as a part of a bundle or something. But yeah, that's not even the end of it. Then there's Epic, which I'm really grateful that they give free games like once a week. But yeah, that does tend to lock the backlog even further. But I'm not complaining. Do appreciate it. And then of course there are others like Good Old Games, where I have even more games. And yeah, I don't know about the specifics, the stats, but maybe I've played like actually played more than 30 minutes of like 10% of the games I actually own at this point. Something like that, which is kind of insane when you think about it. But again, not complaining about the free games that you get. But yeah, that does also mean, along with the frequent PC game sales that you can get these days, that I really don't pay, usually, a lot for games, and don't buy new games unless I'm really super into them. Which is partly why I have not bought Baldur's Gate 3 yet, nor Cyberpunk or anything big and new, really. I mean, there are very few big and new games that I'm actually interested in, but those two count. I usually play indie games like this, if it's not obvious. I mean, I don't know, does Grim Dawn count as an indie game? Maybe not. It's like halfway there. Something like that. Battle Brothers does, though. Okay, so one boss here still. Barak the Bloodied. Anywho, it's really nice of Epic and the other game stores to occasionally give out games for free. Even if you're not made of money, I certainly am not. You can actually have quite the extensive game library. And if you're a patient guy like I usually am, then you can just wait for a good sale. Of course, the Steam sales haven't been really as good as they used to be in like the last 5 or something along those lines years, but there are other places, of course, where you can buy games, perhaps for a better price, and to be honest, current Steam prices when there's a sale, they aren't that bad. If you're not poor, at least. But I am pretty cheap, so I usually wait for the best possible deals. Like, it's a bit silly sometimes. I actually spend some time contemplating, should I buy this game for €2 or what? Like, am I actually going to play it? Am I going to get it for free at some point so I don't waste €2? Like, as if that mattered. Oh well. Maybe it's a personality flaw. Okay, next. What are next? Next are more enemies. Shard 9 Chunk 2. That's not really a tongue twister, but it seems for my adult brain it was. Anywho, let's keep on killing here. Is that a dead end? Oh, that's rude. That is rude. The map led me to believe that that wouldn't be a dead end, but oh well. Oh well. Wasted like 5 to 10 seconds there. Seconds that I will never get back, and neither will you. Let's share the misery. Oh, someone's healing you. How rude. Who is it? A Myrmidon? Come on guys. Sometimes when you issue this order with the pet attack, it doesn't actually... They just stop doing what they're doing. So you need to reissue the order. Which is a bit annoying. Come on guys, you can do it. You can do it. Oh, is there still a Myrmidon around here? Or something? What the hell? I mean, are these like... champion Myrmidons? Oh, come on. Come on guys, I'll just leave them. Annoying. One thing that I should spend some time on at some point is learning English adjectives. So I don't have to say annoying all the time. I can say something else. And that is also not really a path. On a good day, my brain will remember some synonyms. On a bad day, perhaps not. Also, yes, we are reaching, or getting there, to level 100. So it seems that Argyle will reach maximum level in this very episode, which was the goal, of course, both for the run and the episode itself.
Can't do that yet.
But even if I reach that level 15, I guess, not level 15, level 100, I will go for a shard 15 here. Like I've been saying, that will be the end of Grim Dawn, at least for a while. Alright. Starting to get a bit tired, but let's aim for that shard 15 in any case. Here's a Shrine of Oleron, but I'm not going to get the... Well, I guess I'll check what it does. Increased movement speed, greatly increased offensive ability. Okay. I will skip. There are, of course, multiple things you need to do well, or at least good enough for a game like this to be good enough to play. Build variety, gameplay, itemization, balance. I think those are the most important probably, and after that come the aesthetics, sound design, music, stuff like that. Battle Brothers, of course, is a game with very simplistic graphics, but I think the art style makes up for it. And also the sound design and music in that game is spectacular. Maybe even the best that I can think of here. Also there's level 100. Hooray! Monomythic Centennial is the achievement. Anyway, gameplay is the most important part of a game. But it does help that you have other areas done well as well. Battle Brothers is a great game, despite the sound design and the music being so good, but it definitely helps a lot that they are as good as they are. Some people are turned off by the graphical style and the lack of animations, but I think it's fine. I think it's just fine. And it's better, in my opinion, that the resources that the developers have at their disposal is spent on the actual gameplay instead of something which is kind of superficial. I do appreciate good graphics, of course, but at least when they're not so demanding. But that is completely tertiary to the enjoyment. For me, at least. Anyway, so yeah, 1 point in physique and again 1 point in primal spirit. So we have reached the goal that I set, which is complete the stories, well, the story content of ultimate difficulty on hardcore mode, as well as reach level 100. And I've also done all the roguelike dungeons, not that they're really all that difficult, but anyway, they are worthy of an achievement. Of course, there are still multiple things I could be doing, which I haven't done, like fighting Celestials and other super bosses, like Mogdrogen and Calagadra and I guess Ravager. There are also some secrets in the game, some of which, well, I've done the hidden path obviously, but apart from that there's Lokar, which is another hidden boss. That is something that I haven't done. It's pretty complex to unlock Lokar. I would again need to look it up how to do it. And there are some other kind of elusive, kind of, what's the term I'm looking for? Easter eggs. Easter egg quests, I guess. Of course, if you think about it in terms of the rewards, then they are not necessarily all that good, the possible rewards that you get from them. And then, of course, what I could be doing is optimizing the build and trying to conquer the Shattered Realm for realsies instead of just reaching shard 15 or 25. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied that I got there on my first try, but I must say that it has been far easier than I expected. I have played multiple summoners before, but I didn't remember that it would be this easy. I guess I maybe should have chosen something else as my character class. Maybe. To have some excitement. Korvac was semi-challenging. And a few others. And definitely if I tried to fight the Celestials, then I might die, but I'm not going to do it. But But yes, I am glad to have reached level 100 on hardcore for the first time ever. And like I've said, I haven't really played hardcore in any other game as well. On, well, ARPGs. In ARPGs specifically. So now I can say I've done it. Kind of. I must say this was the easy mode though. Summoner was the easy mode. Another easy mode character would be a warlord. Retaliation based warlord. Nearly unkillable. You can just face tank pretty much everything. I've done that on softcore once. With the right gear at least, it's pretty ludicrous. Anywho, let's delve deeper. Well, bosses first. It's a little bit of a shame that you always get the same music here. It does get old. And I must say, the music in Grim Dawn is not at the same level as in Battle Brothers. It's not bad, but definitely not there.
That skill's not ready.
Also, I nearly died there actually. Okay. Exciting. Just as I've reached level 100. That would have been kind of funny. But I wouldn't be sad. That would be, I don't know, so ironic. I used to care a lot more about games, but these days it's fine if a character dies in a game. Whether it be Grim Dawn or Battle Brothers or something else. Feels bad for a little bit, but that's what keeps it exciting. The possibility of death. I guess that's kind of what makes life exciting as well. If you knew you were going to live forever, then there would be far less consequences for your actions. Anyway, I'm not going to go there now. Okay. Oh, one more skill point. So, either I've completely misremembered how this works, or you get even more skill points from this place. Okay, anyway, also one attribute point. And also I did get some achievement there. Anyway, let's delve even deeper.
Well done.
Though it's been a long episode already, but let's go for short 15 like I said. But yes, if I ever return to Grim Dawn, well, on the YouTube channel that is, then I will, I guess, make use of those experience potions. Which does mean that I do at some point need to grind some ethereals in Malmuth to get to Revered. Anyway, if you've been watching Argyle's journey, then hopefully you had a good time, at least for most of it. Not sure if the viewers that I've had for this game actually were familiar with it already or not. I mean, I would imagine some of them are, some of them aren't. And I'm not really the best at either making videos or playing the game or speaking English or whatever have you, but if you've watched all the way to here, then I guess I'm doing something right. So thanks for that. And like I've remarked in the past, this would have been far more difficult if they hadn't at some point added the evade ability to the game. Like I can just do that and it's basically of no consequence, even as a summoner. Or that's the basic idea at least, not that that particular encounter was all that difficult. Okay, there we are. Nearly to chunk 3 of shard 11. Also, it seems that the game hasn't actually given me the XP on the experience point bar. So that's like a minor visual bug, I guess. So yes, Grim Dawn is getting an expansion, I believe, this year. Not sure if I'll get it. Maybe I will. I do like the game, but like I said, I'm a patient and cheap old man. So I can wait on stuff like that. Okay, some enemies trying to say something. Didn't hear quite what. Oh well, my hearing isn't the best. One thing that I like about the Reign of Terror mod, which is not very much of a big deal really, or that much of a change, but if I remember correctly, respecking is completely free there. So you can really try out all sorts of different builds as you find new gear. I think I prefer that over the system that the base game has, where you can do it, but it does cost money. Not that it's a lot of money, but even when it costs very little, well, the expenses do ramp up, but even when it costs little, you do kind of need to think about and plan what you're doing, while in the Reign of Terror mod you can just try things out, and it doesn't really matter if you did it wrong, so to speak. You don't need to think about what you're doing all that much, necessarily. You can just immediately fix it, if you'd like, and it doesn't cost you anything else but time. Also, it seems that the pets are dying, so let's get them back up. So yes, the Shattered Realm is the place to test your builds. If you can get to, like, I don't know, over shard 70 or something? Something along those lines, something in that ballpark, then your build really works. Currently, Argyle is definitely not that powerful. The gear obviously isn't completely optimized, and neither is the build itself. Definitely could be optimizing this, and if I had the opportunity, the same system as in Reign of Terror, and I guess some other mods as well, then I would be more keen to experiment a little. But since this is working good enough, well, I've said this multiple times, but when it's working good enough, I don't feel the need to do anything about it. If I really wanted to grind the Shattered Realm, then I would probably change my tune Maybe even look up some successful pet builds. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit... It takes a little bit out of the enjoyment if you just start copying builds that other people made in a game like this. But that is your choice. Maybe it's just old man pride talking. Because it's really not, I guess, a big deal if you do it. I mean, you can do it for one character and then do whatever the hell you like with the others, or however you'd like to do things. I have looked up some builds before and, well, just to see the gist of it, what works, but I haven't, I don't think, ever copied them exactly. Also, yes, the portal is here. Okay, short 12, chunk 2. Still a ways to go. But I suppose, or I would imagine that you can see why I don't feel like grinding all the way up to short 25, like I initially said. As that would take quite a bit of time and mental effort. Coming back to what I spoke about earlier about always online games and Diablo 4, I suppose it has its advantages as well. If you want to play with your friends, then obviously the multiplayer aspect of it will work better if it's actually hosted online instead of you just connecting there. I occasionally do play PvE games, multiplayer, with a friend or two, and sometimes it is a bit of a hassle to get everything working. So I guess that's one point for Diablo 4. Occasionally I can't even get a game working properly if I want to play multiplayer for whatever reason, or maybe it works on one occasion and then it doesn't. Which is a bit weird given that we are living in 2025. That kind of thing is still possible even with kind of modern games occasionally. Like, I tried to get Valheim working with a friend. We were both on Xbox Game Pass, but for whatever reason we just couldn't get it to work in multiplayer. I guess if we'd spent more time on it, we might have gotten it working. And maybe the game would have worked if it were from Steam or something else. Some other place, I don't know. I'm not the most technical person. Okay, next stage. Forman Titan of War. Darius Cronley and Darius Connolly. Don't remember where that guy is from. Also, yes, the pets died. Let's get them back. Come on, guys, you can do it. Well, they can do it, but it's going to take quite a bit of time, sadly. So that was a bad dodge.
That skill's not ready.
You can kind of make a pet build in this game that isn't actually based around pets per se, using player-scaled pets which don't have a physical form, so enemies cannot attack and kill them, but they kind of function like pets. Would be better in this specific fight, I think, since these quote-unquote living pets are dying so frequently. The Corban Titan War just took a breather. Okay, fair enough. Playing it fair. Let's get the skeletons back. Pets are dying again.
I can't do that yet.
Well, I do appreciate the challenge, I guess.
That skill's not ready.
The fight has taken long enough that the music has actually reached kind of a different tune this time around. Okay, nearly there. Nearly there. There we go. Okay.
Well,
On to shard 13. Not sure if you can transfer. I mean, I would imagine that you cannot transfer the tokens that let you start the Shattered Realm at a specific stage. Maybe you can, but probably not. Anyway, doing this initial grind in this place for every new character does seem like a big chore. But like I said, not sure how it works. And definitely this would be far quicker and easier if Argyle weren't bad. Well, he's not bad, but he's not really good either in end game content like this, not currently at least. So what you're saying is get good. Yes, that is what I'm saying. Guess I'll pick this up. Powerful foe slain. Okay, chunk one done. Still have a lot of chunks to go. So I will be returning to Battle Brothers, and actually probably pretty soon. And I have already decided what I will be doing there, but I won't spoil it further. Well, I did mention in a previous episode that I will be doing the 2 new legendary locations added by the recent patch to the game. But anything other than that, I will save for the first video of that run. While Battle Brothers is... well, I guess I can say it's my very favorite game of all time. Of course, I do, every now and again, need to take a little break. So as not to burn out. Then again, as the classic film Highlander uses that famous saying, "It's better to burn out than to fade away." I do like that film, especially for the main villain, or I guess the only villain. Yeah, I guess he's kind of like the only villain in that. It's a pretty cheesy film, but it does work. Sean Connery is fun in it as well. Not as fun in Highlander 2, I must say, but that's a different story. Highlander 1, I do recommend that, but keep in mind it is pretty cheesy at times. I'm blanking on the actor's name who played the villain there, and also on the character's name at the moment, but it might come to me here. Do want to give props to the guy. He was also the drill sergeant in Starship Troopers. Been in a bunch of stuff, of course. Very tall actor. Which is partly, of course, why they chose him for both of the roles. He was also one of the villains in Shawshank Redemption, another classic film. Do recommend if someone's watching this and hasn't seen it. Not sure exactly how I ended up speaking about Shawshank Redemption while playing the Shattered Realm here, but it happened. Okay, that's actual damage. Okay. Shard 13 done, 2 to go. Yeah, to my shame, I don't remember the actor's name, but... oh, now I remember it. Okay, Clancy Brown, yes. Props to that guy. I think Highlander is my favorite role of his for me, but he's definitely very good in other things as well. I don't think he's always great, but he's always at least good. Though... okay, one criticism. I think he's been typecast a lot, at least in recent years. Showing up a lot in different things, playing kind of the same character. Oh well. One has to earn a living somehow. Nothing against him. He's not like Robert De Niro levels or Al Pacino or, well, insert whoever is a good world-class actor, but I think he's kind of up there. At least in those iconic roles. Anywho, I'm just I'm just rambling about nonsense again. Well, maybe it's actually entertaining nonsense. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Hopefully. Okay, get skeletons back up. The other day, or I guess it's been a couple of weeks by now, I was thinking about, out loud, while doing a Grim Dawn video, about actually good fantasy films that have been made, and the list was very short, but I guess I can add Highlander to that. I mean, kind of. It's I don't know if it counts as fantasy per se. I guess it doesn't. But it's fantasy adjacent a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's not actually. There's... Well, I won't spoil it. I mean, probably most of you listening have seen it, or at least know the gist of it, but... Yeah, upon thinking about it further, I guess it doesn't really count as fantasy. But maybe you can see why I initially thought about it like that. It has some similarities. I mean, if you don't take into account the horrible, absolutely terrible, abysmal second film, which decidedly makes that science fiction instead, I guess you kind of can consider it fantasy. I was actually stupid enough to buy Highlander 2 on DVD, but in my defense, I hadn't seen it and I didn't know just how terrible it was. I have since gotten rid of that DVD. I don't remember if I sold it or what. Anyway. I mean, people do like watching bad films, but I would imagine that not many people enjoy that one. Just utterly terrible. Apart from, I guess, the small role of Sean Connery. Oh well. Oh well. Sometimes you just do fail. And it might not even be your fault. If you don't try, you cannot succeed, but you also cannot fail. So, either try and maybe fail, or take Homer Simpson's advice to heart. And the advice, of course, is never try. Sometimes I do feel like never trying. But yeah, Highlander 2 is a spectacular failure when you compare it to the first film. Yeah, the first film, while it's good, kind of a cult classic, or even just a classic, it's not a perfect film by any means, but still. And not like I've watched everything in that series, but from what I know, pretty much all of it, except for the first film, is utter junk, which is a damn shame. They are, I believe, making actually a new version of Highlander, I think, with what's his face? Not Jason Momoa, but the English guy. I think he's English. The guy who played Superman. Anyway, I think that's correct. Maybe I'm incorrect, but anyway. And this is actually one occasion where I am not annoyed by that decision, because I think, apart from the first film, the series is just such utter garbage that they can't really shame it that much, unlike they could with other classic films. But who knows, maybe it ends up being even worse than Highlander 2, which is, I guess, a possibility. It would be kind of an achievement, but I guess it is possible. Anything's possible. Anyway, I hope it's good. I don't know if that... I mean, I guess that premise has some promise. I mean, why the hell not? It worked once, but then again, you don't have the same people making it anymore. With that said, I would appreciate it if Hollywood took some more chances and did something altogether new more often. Obviously it is a financial risk, but as a viewer I would appreciate it more. Anyway, as I get more and more tired doing this Shattered Realm... Oh, I am actually on Shard 15, okay. So let's complete this shard and then be done with this episode, and also with Grim Dawn and Argyle, at least for a while. Maybe forever, but at least for a while. Anyway, what I was going to say is that as I get more and more tired, the things I say maybe make even less sense as they did earlier. And I get off topic a lot, which, depending on the viewpoint, is either positive, negative, or neutral. One of the three. You don't say, Captain Obvious. Anywho, getting near to the end. It has been quite a journey. Not quite as epic of a journey as a Battle Brothers run, perhaps, but still. Chunk 3. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed it. I mean, not sure if you've actually watched all of the Grim Dawn journey. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I do hope that despite my rambling, or maybe because of it, you got something out of this. Oh, and here is a Benjar the Colossal, so that's a nemesis. And we'll see how this goes. Haven't fought Benjar with Argyle. I have fought Bacabra a couple of times by now. So one would imagine that this guy will also be defeated. Seems to be going well. Getting trapped like this is one possible way to end the run, but did not happen there. Okay, there we go. Alright. The final bosses of the run. One down. So there's still a tiny chance that Argyle will die. But it looks like that the run was a success. Wraith of Sorrows. Can the Wraith of Sorrows kill Argyle? No. Okay. So there we go. Now let's speak with Mazan. Okay. Enough! I wish to claim my reward. Okay, and he opens a portal to eternal wealth. And there are chests here. There is also a shrine. Whatever. I don't really benefit at all by doing that, but sure, whatever. Let's give you that there. And there are quite a few chests. Let's open them up. Misery. Oh, the misery. Okay, so in total 3 legendary items. That's not... Well, I guess there's still chests to be opened. What I was going to say is that that's not that good, but obviously, or kind of obviously, this is still kind of early on in the Shattered Realm. Okay, that's yet another legendary item. And a couple of more. Okay. Mythical Herald of Blazing Ends, Mythical Scion of Burning Vengeance, Mythical Reaper of the Accursed, and Venom Skin Leg Wraps, bunch of blueprints, etc, etc, etc. Alright, so yeah, like I said, thank you for watching, and next time will be something other than Grim Dawn. See ya then!